Hi everyone, it's Yulia, Executive Function Coach based out of Los Angeles, California, and I work with parents and their families to help them radically transform their relationship, to improve the quality of their relationships, and to decrease the stress and help them to build the executive function skills that are going to help them successfully navigate the world, navigate school, navigate their relationships so that they can live a more joyful and less stressful life. So today's video is all about a 4-step process that is going to help you stop yelling. It's going to help you calm down and redirect your response to your child in a way that helps you get the outcome that you desire. So this 4-step process comes from Elaine Taylor-Klaus, who is a certified coach, and I had the pleasure of attending a workshop last night that she ran called Why Are You Yelling? And I have tons of notes from the workshop, and I will be looking down and referencing them throughout the video just to make sure I'm hitting on all the points that I wanted to cover. So first of all, the main part of this video is going to be her 4-step process to calming down and responding to your child in a calmer way without yelling. And before we go into that, just a couple things that she mentioned, a couple things that really stuck with me and the parents who were there, because in order to manage our own emotions around our child's behavior, we really need to understand the root of their behavior. Why are they acting like this? Are they really being disrespectful, childish, immature, hurtful, ungrateful? Or is there something else going on beneath the surface that's causing them to behave in a way that we might interpret to be all those things? And so a really important fact that Elaine mentioned last night was that neuroatypical children, any children with complex needs, ADHD, executive function disorder, autism, twice exceptional learners, any of these neurodiverse brains are going to be about 3 to 5 years behind developmentally, behind peers of their age. So this means that they're about 30% behind in development. And what we want to do is shift our expectations based on their true emotional age and not really expect them to act their physical age. So that fact alone is going to help you shift your response dramatically, because you will understand that your child simply is unable to meet your expectations of a child their age. And it doesn't mean that they're forever stuck that age. It just means that they're behind in their development and they need more guidance. A second overall idea that Elaine talked about was about emotional intensity. And parents, if your child has ADHD, they do not have that function in their brain developed yet that allows them to pause or inhibit their emotions, meaning once they feel that emotion, they're going to express it or act on it outwardly without the benefit of having a filter. So adults and kids with ADHD, we feel our emotions much more intensely and deeply than those with neurotypical brains, and we don't have the ability to inhibit that impulse to react to that emotion because we will react to it before we process it. So it's a stimulus and a response, stimulus and a response, and it's almost as if we don't have our prefrontal cortex, our executive functions. It's almost as if we're acting just like another animal that doesn't have that human ability to stop and really process their thoughts and think in sequential patterns and problem solve. We go straight to that stimulus and response. Okay, so those are 2 big ideas to keep in mind as we move forward, because they're really going to help you shift your mindset and understand the root cause of your child's behavior. So to jump right into the 4-step process of how to respond to your child in a calm way. Step 1, parents, is that I need to change the page, but you need to recognize the threat. I want to be careful to use Elaine's language. So what does it mean to recognize a threat? It means to really recognize what is triggering you, and also be aware of the fact that you are being triggered and that your brain is shifting from your prefrontal cortex, your executive function brain, the part of your brain that can think and problem solve and hold information in mind and feel joy, all that stuff. You're shifting from that part of your brain to a very primitive part of your brain, and that's your amygdala. It's a little almond-shaped organ on both sides of our head behind our ears, and once the amygdala is activated, it's going to send a message to your adrenal glands. It's going to send a message to your heart to pump faster, pump adrenaline throughout your body, and it's going to hijack your logical brain and put you in a state of freeze, fight, or flight mode, and that means that your body is physiologically reacting to a threat or a perceived threat. Back in our evolutionary history, this may have been, for example, a tiger that's chasing you or a fire that you're trying to escape. So the same part of our brains are active, and it's really important to be aware of this and to be aware of what triggers it so that you can stop in that moment and not try to communicate with your child while either of you are emotionally dysregulated. Okay, so step number 2 is to really, or actually going back to step number 1, I want to add this really important thing. When you are being triggered, it is important that you stop and feel your body. Where is it in your body that you're feeling this trigger, these emotions? Is your throat getting tight? Is your breathing getting shallow and fast? Is your heart racing? Are you getting warm? Are you sweating? Are your palms sweaty? Are your hands shaky? How do you feel in that moment when you're being triggered? And the more curious you get about this, the more you're going to short circuit that adrenaline response and really come back into your logical brain, because you're taking action to logically process and feel your body instead of just going through that trigger and that reaction. So step number 2 is that you want to reclaim your brain. What can you do in this moment to really calm down? And the first thing you probably want to do if you're around your child and they're the ones triggering you is leave, is ask them to give you a few minutes to calm down and let them know you'll be back when you're feeling better. Not only does this model this awesome skill to your child, it also gives you a chance to de-escalate the situation and leave and then do something else that gets you calm. Elaine talked about a couple things that, because we're animals, they work just as if we were sort of in our primitive stages of evolution. So this is so fascinating. So Elaine said that, drinking water, taking a sip of water or just drinking water lets our brain know that we are safe. It's very similar to the watering hole. So when an animal is cautious in approaching the watering hole, their senses are on high alert. They're looking out for any threats, any animals. And then once we get to the watering hole and we're taking a drink of water, that means we're safe. And this still works for our brain. So what a fascinating bit of neuroscience to help us in such a practical way. Another thing that works the same is walking up a hill and deep breathing, listening to music, calling a good friend, anything that works for you. Sometimes eating works, and it's not the best of things, but if whatever self-soothing kind of healthy self-soothing habits that you've come up with that work, go do that first and make sure you're really calm before you approach your child. Again, don't just be fake calm. Don't take a deep breath and say, okay, I'm calm now, I'm ready. No way, dude. You want to really calm down and approach your child when you are emotionally regulated, or else that situation is going to escalate some more. Alrighty. Number 3 is choose a different perspective. This is so important. So in that moment when you are triggered, you might be telling yourself a story. And I'll use the example of, asking your child to pick up their clothes, put them in the laundry basket. You walk into the room, the clothes are not in the laundry basket. You've told your child 3 times, before they enter the room to put them in the hamper, and they didn't listen to you. What's the story you're telling yourself in this moment? My child is so disrespectful. They're so ungrateful. They never listen to me, and she's never going to do this on her own, and I'm always going to have to, get into these big arguments with her. So either consciously or subconsciously, you're telling yourself this story that is really getting you pissed off. It's upsetting you. It's getting you emotionally dysregulated. It's triggering you, and it's ending up in you having a negative perception of your child's habits. So I challenge you parents to change that story and, really test the truth of that story too. So is your child really being disrespectful, or do they just not have the ability to keep those directions in mind long enough in order to execute that task? Kids with ADHD have working memory issues. They also have processing delays. So that means, did your child really hear and process what you said? Did they really understand it? Or did they just think they heard it and then they forgot? Or did they just forget to do it? They meant to do it, they heard you, but they forgot. Do they just need a reminder? So whatever that initial story was that triggered your emotions, tell yourself a different story. It doesn't even have to be true, because whatever you tell yourself, your brain is going to perceive that to be the truth. So, what's the truth? The truth is that they haven't developed the skill of following through with instructions. They probably didn't hear you. And so that is going to lead us into the 4th and final step of redirecting your action based on the new story you're telling yourself. So when you're redirecting your action, you're really using your highest executive function, which is problem solving. This is our brain's playground. It's where we can get creative and really figure out what we need to do in order to change the outcome little by little over time. So maybe the solution that you come up with is, okay, I'm going to be, before I give an instruction to my child, I'm going to make sure I have their attention. I'm going to preset an expectation or preset their ability to deal with their emotions by saying, hey, I'm about to ask you to do something that you might not like to do, so brace yourself, but I'm going to need you to get this done because it's very important. Let me know when you're ready to listen. Let me know if you need me to write it down. Please repeat it back to me so that I'm sure that you knew, what I asked you to do. And then, do you need a reminder? Do you want me to come in and check? What are you going to do a little bit differently to get a different outcome? And how could you creatively solve this problem with your child so that you model this process of, getting calm, redirecting your actions, and creative problem solving? So that is the 4-step process brought to you by Elaine Taylor-Klaus, who is a certified parent coach. And I was so excited to learn, especially about the drinking water. That really blew my mind. A lot of this stuff is stuff that I do a lot with parents. So it was familiar, but it was really great to hear it again, to hear it from a slightly different perspective, to get a really concrete 4-step process. So parents, the more that you immerse yourself in this information, the more that you listen, the more that you try, these techniques, the better outcomes you're going to get, the less stress you're going to feel, the higher quality relationship you're going to have with your child, and you are going to notice a radical shift in the energy in your home when you can calm yourself down, because what you're doing is you're taking away a stimulus, you're taking away a trigger, and you're taking away the opportunity for your child to react back to you. So the entire mood of your house shifts when you shift it. And like I say, the strongest nervous system wins, parents. So when you can regulate yourself, not only are you modeling this executive function to your child, you're also helping your child to co-regulate with you in that moment and helping them rewire that pathway in their brain that's so deeply ingrained that it's going to take lots of little tiny baby steps to rewire and so that they can make progress. And I promise you'll see a shift over time when you continue this process. Whew, all right, that's our video for today. I look forward to our next video where I will be covering the LAUSD teachers strike. I hope to get out there. It's raining right now, so I'm just waiting for the weather to get a little better, waiting for a little bit of time to open in my schedule, and we'll be visiting the teachers and interviewing them and talking about how we can help our broken education, our public education system, especially in the second largest district in the entire country. So I'm really excited about that video. Please subscribe to this channel to help grow our community. And let me know in the comments if there's any other questions you have, and I would be happy to make a video or send you an email or comment back to help you solve your toughest parenting challenges. Thanks so much. It's been Yulia, Executive Function Coach, and I'll see you in our next video.